In the midst of life's confusion, God calls out to us, saying, trust in me, and I will make straight your path. Follow my light, and I will bring hope to your life. restores my soul. He leads me in the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long.
Thank you. And continuing the reading of God's holy word, you'll find us in the Gospel of John. It begins in the 10th chapter with the first verse, and we'll kind of follow this through, so at least 10, maybe just a little longer. Okay? This is John 10, beginning with verse 1. Here now let's read it as we share together God's word. Very truly I tell you, anyone who does not enter the sheepfold by the gate, but climbs in by another way, is a thief and a bandit. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep hear his voice. He calls his own sheep by name, and he leads them out. When he has brought out all of his own, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. They will not follow a stranger, but they will run from him because they do not know the voice of the stranger. Jesus used this figure of speech with them, but they did not understand what he was saying to them. So again, Jesus said to them, very truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who came before me are thieves, bandits, but the sheep did not listen to them, for I am the gate. Whoever enters by me will be saved, and will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. For I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand, who is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away. The wolf snatches them and scatters them. The hired hand runs away because the hired hand does not care for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me. Just as the Father knows me, I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep who do not belong to the fold, and I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock, one shepherd. For this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life in order to take it up again. No one takes it from me. I lay it down on my own accord. I have power to lay it down. I have power to take it up again. I received this command from my Father. Here ends this reading of God's holy word. To his name be glory and praise both now and forever. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. You know, I'm going to take you back a few years. I'm going to try to take you back, I don't know, to about 1970. Now, you know, if you were here last week, you're going to find out that's about a 10-year movement ahead of where we were. But last week we talked a little bit about the songs of the 50s, or the late 50s. It was 1961, if you remember. And some of you folks may recall last week we talked about a song called The Wanderer. For those of you who are here, the rest of you are going to help you out, okay? And The Wanderer was written by a fellow by the name, performed by a fellow by the name of Dion. And if you remember how the song went, they called me the Wanderer because I rode around and around and around. Well, I'm going to fast forward These 5 young men were called the Jackson 5. They were kids. And who was the lead singer of the Jackson 5? Was their youngest little brother who happened to be named Michael. Michael Jackson was the one to become the king of pop. But what was one of the songs that brought him to fame? Where he kind of took flight. One of the biggest hits of Motown. 1970. Michael was 12 years old. His voice hadn't changed. Some would argue that it never really did. But in 1970, Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 produced this wonderful song called I'll Be There. You remember it? Now, you know, I want to lift that up to you for a reason, because it stands in complete opposition to what we talked about last week. Because if you remember, what was the song that Dion, what was it about? It was about the wanderer. And what do we know about the wanderer? He runs around, around. And the wanderer was about the human condition. It's about who we are and the way we behave. Well, you know what? If you listen to the words and the lyrics of I'll Be There, it's actually the opposite of that. Because if the wanderer tells the story of the human condition, I'll Be There tells actually the story of the divine response. Do you hear the words? Human life must make it back. We must bring salvation back. Where there is love. Look at that. I'll reach out my hand to you. I'll have faith in all you do. Just call my name. Look at that. You got a choir. You hear that? You can take notes through. You hear who it is. Ruth has people strategically planned it, okay? So they're picking up your voice, okay? You invited to the party, right, Mary? That's right. There you go. Notice how you know those words. You know what? And I'm just having a look at some of our folks that are graduates. You probably never heard that the first time. But you know what? Do you know how powerful that message is? That song was redone in the 1990s. Who did that song? Who covered it? Does anybody know? Mariah Carey. What do you know about Mariah Carey? She sings that wonderful Christmas song that we all love, right? Exactly. The message is the same. The message is timeless. I'll be there. What a powerful message. And it's a message that not Michael Jackson was sharing, but perhaps it's a message that we pick up in the scriptures. I want you to hear this carefully. Jesus begins to tell this story. When we talked last week, the metaphors of the sheep and the shepherd are very strong in the Bible. They are strong to the point where you hear them in the Old Testament and the New Testament, thousands of years apart. Is that not what Renee shared with you? You heard those words. What were those words? Who wrote them? David. And David was a what? And he was talking about the sheep, and he was caring for the flock. Jesus returns to that same theme in the New Testament. He says it in the Gospel of John. You heard it in chapter 10. He said, very truly I tell you, anyone who does not enter the sheepfold by the gate but climbs in the other way is a thief and a bandit. Jesus is talking about the sheep and the shepherd. Now, we've talked about the nature of the sheep, and we know they're prone to wander, but what did God do when He created the world? What did He do? He put these sheep here. He has these people, these children that He loves. He refers to them as the sheep. Where did He put them? Where do you put a group of sheep? Well, you put them in a pasture. What do they have to do when you put them in a pasture? Well, by now you know that they wander off. So if you want to keep them from wandering off, what do you do with them? You put them in a pen. That way it kind of contains them. They are not as prone to wander. It keeps a safe place. Now, when I say to you putting them in a pen, you tend to think of a corral with fences and restrictions. But what kind of a place did God put His people? Go back to the book of Genesis. Listen, where were the people put? What did God intend for people? A lot of them in the chicken coop? Where what God intended. That is the pasture that He creates. That is the environment that God creates for the people that He loves. And so He makes the people, He gives them this wonderful place to live. However, what does Jesus tell us about this garden? What is it prone to do? Very truly I tell you, anyone who does not enter the sheepfold by the gate, but climbs in another way, is a thief and a bandit. Go back to the story in Genesis. God's got the people there. God freely talks to them and comes and goes. They have a wonderful relationship. And who sneaks into the garden? Slithering their way in. Who climbs over the wall? Who manages to breach that area? And who manages to contaminate that sacred space? What does Paul say about that? He said sin is doing what? Sin is just sitting around in the waiting room. Sin is always crouching behind the door, ready to pounce. And from the beginning of time, that is what's taking place. Jesus said, this is what is occurring. The sheep are in this wonderful place. But what's going to happen is the thief and the bandits, they are going to come. And the one who enters it by the gate is the shepherd. But the rest of these folks are sneaking their way in here. And the sheep are afraid. You see anything like that happening in the world? Doesn't it feel like people are slithering into the garden? Don't you feel like people are breaching the gates, climbing over the wall, whatever you want to do? Think about this for a minute. I don't know about you folks, but when I hear so many tragedies, and sometimes they're just individuals who talk. Sometimes I can see it booming at us in the news every direction. Don't you feel like the little Dutch boy, you remember him? There's a hole outside the dike. And what does he do? He sticks his finger in it. And he plugs up the hole. And what quickly happens when he plugs up the hole? Another one pops up. That's okay, he's got another finger. And then another. And then another one. And another one. As soon as he's run out of fingers. Don't you feel like that sometimes? Don't you feel like this garden has been contaminated? Don't you feel like all of a sudden the sheep are just under attack? It's okay, it tells us in the Bible. It shares with us that there will be folks that will come. And they will come, and the master will actually send them. And they will come through the gate. And when they come through the gate, these hired servants, they are good folks like me and like you. They're responding to God's call. And they're coming, but more and more they just feel like their fingers are not getting plugged up in the dikes. There's not enough of us to go around. And eventually the wolves are ravishing everything, and the thieves and the bandits. And think about this for a minute. All of a sudden, when they come, and when the folks that are there trying to hold the line are overwhelmed, what does Jesus say these hired servants are going to do? Did you hear his words? They're going to run. The hired man, who is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep, will see the wolf coming. They will leave the sheep and run away. Think about this for a minute. Jesus gathers with his 12 disciples. It's the last supper. He gathers with them, he looks at them, and what does he tell them? You will all do what? You're all going to run away. And they insist, no, I'm not. I'm going to hold the line. I'm going to keep sticking my fingers in the dike. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to feed these sheep and tend these lambs. Jesus is not going to. Because in the end, you're going to run away. The hired man, who is not the shepherd, does not own the sheep, will see the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away, and the wolf will snatch them and scatter them. The hired man runs away because the hired man does not care for the sheep. So all is lost. But what's the next line say? Jesus returns with this statement. He says in chapter verse 14, I am what? I am the good shepherd. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me. In the midst of all the darkness, in the midst of all the sadness, in the midst of all the tragedy, I will be there. Michael Jackson had it right. I'll be there. Did you hear what he said? Hear the lyrics of this song. I will reach out my hand. I'll have faith in calling. Just call my name, and I'll be there. I'll be there to comfort you, to build my world of dreams around you. But I call your attention back to another 12-year-old boy. 10, 12, I'm not sure. You sang the song for that child. Michael Jackson was the king of pop. David was the king of music. But at the time he wrote this song, he was a shepherd. He was a little boy. And yet even then, he knew the same refrain that we would sing thousands of years later, because that's what matters. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. Leads me in the paths of righteousness for his sake. Yea, here's the right. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Why will he not be afraid? I'll be there. I will fear no evil, because thou art with me. That is the promise of the good shepherd. I will be there. I will be there. I will be there to comfort you. I will be there to protect you. I will be there to fill your heart with joy and laughter. Whenever you need me, I will be there. That is the message of the 23rd Psalm. That is the message of Jesus today. I am the good shepherd. He says it in verse 14. He continues, in case you miss it, he goes on and once again claims the title. He says a few lines better, I am the good shepherd. And the good shepherd will not only be there, but will lay down his life for you. I will be there. If you go back to that song, I'll be there at one point. Near the end of that song, he literally goes, says, look over your shoulder. Because I'll be there. I am right behind you. I am walking through that path with you. I will never forsake you. Because I have come to give you life. And life abundant. You know, that's a powerful message. Knowing however difficult life can be, however challenging it can be, no matter how many times we think the walls are coming in, to know that the Lord is with us, that the good shepherd stands with us, that his rod and his staff, they comfort me. And just remember this, what is the staff? It's the staff of the shepherd. What does the staff of the shepherd look like? That's a little pillow. Does it have a caliper on the end of it? Does that mean when you do wrong? Does it have a hammer on the end of it to smack you on the head when you got out of line? Does it have a lasso on the end of it like a cowboy's when something gets away? It's a little broken. Because you want it. And I will bring you back. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. I will fear no evil because you are there. My friends, is that enough? Is that the end of the promise? You know, I take you back a few years. I'm only going to take you back 21 years right now. 21 years this week. The 24th of July, 21 years ago. Not very far from where we're standing right now. A significant event happened. A miracle occurred. Do you remember what it is? It was a coal mine. It's not our second hour. There were 9 miners that were trapped. They got trapped in the mine. Remember now, Dew Creek? These 9 men got trapped. The only way that they could preserve their life and save themselves was to actually go deeper into the mine, which makes no sense. But that's how they escaped. However, they drifted down as far as they could, and finally they had no other way. They were had to rely on someone else to save them. It was the 24th day of July. The rescuers found them. What was the first thing that they did? They drilled a hole. Was it a big hole? When they drilled a hole, what did they do? They pumped air into the mine. Because these people would have suffocated and died. So they began to put the air down there. Do you think at that moment, those 9 miners all of a sudden felt a sense of relief and safety and comfort? They could breathe again. That was on the 24th day of July. What happened on the 25th day? They were still in the mine. They were still pumping air down there. They were still trying to get them things to help them preserve their life. However, they were still in the mine. the 25th day came, and the 26th day came. And by now, you think, how these people are feeling now? The 24th, they felt pretty good. By the 26th of July, they're not feeling good anymore. Because being with them was not enough. They needed out. So those on the surface, what did they do? They figured they did their job. Get them out of there. And by the 28th day, what they did is they finally lowered down and they were able to start pulling these people out of there, one at a time. Because it's not enough. It's not enough. The Good Shepherd said, I will be with you. I will walk with you. I will stand with you in that valley. I will be wherever it is. You will fear no evil because I am with you, but I'm not just with you. The Good Shepherd said, I will lead you. I will walk with you, stand with you, walk by your side, but what am I going to do more than anything else? I'm going to walk you out of that valley. Because that's what the Good Shepherd did. When all the hired hands fled. The Gospel of John says, greater love have no one than this, that he laid down his life for the friends. I am the Good Shepherd. I love you. And I will lay down my life in order to take it up again. I will lead you out. I will walk with you through the valley, and I will lead you into the light. The light of day, the light of tomorrow. I have come to give you life, but life above. Friends, hear the words. I will